Andrew Weissmann, what are we learning by this document release? And this is just a portion of 400 pages of material that Judge Cannon has released.
A number of things. Well, first, if Mr. Nauta had been represented by Mr. Moss, he would have asserted the Fifth Amendment in the grand jury and not given testimony that was going to be extremely helpful to convicting him. And I think the answer is that in public corruption cases, very often people speak when they should not because of sort of the general repercussions of it being known that they took the Fifth or they think they can get away with it. And something that I saw in the Mueller investigation, which is this sort of pernicious sort of waving around of the potential for pardons, which makes it very hard to flip people, to get them to cooperate. And here it's, there's at least one witness who's going to say there was sort of an overt use of pardons to do just that, to sort of thwart the ability of the Department of Justice to be able to bring a case in its normal course, because normally somebody like Mr. Nauta would be somebody who would cooperate and just tell the truth and would rarely be charged for what he knows, because given how low level he is. He would plead and not do jail time. So this, to me, this sort of everything you read is sort of a real sense. It gives people an inside look, not just at sort of corruption in public corruption investigations, but really another window into the Trump presidency and post-presidency, and it makes you understand why there's so many people who work there who would never endorse him in a million years. Bradley Moss, Andrew has just raised a great question for you, which I hadn't framed until I just heard him say this, which is that, let's put you in the position of defense counsel. You're representing Walt Nauta. Walt Nauta has gone in to do that voluntary interview, and he has said what he has said. Now it's time for the grand jury. And he can't say that again. You know that he can't go in there again and say, hey, I had no idea about these boxes until I was loading them on the truck to send them back. I knew nothing. That story's not going to hold up. Obviously, he goes into this. What he did choose to do is go into this grand jury and give different answers. Is there a way to do that? Is there a way to go into the grand jury and steer away from the answers you gave before in a way that will avoid this kind of indictments by saying, now that I've thought about it, I've, in some way refreshed my memory, or, as Andrew suggests, given what he said in the FBI interview, was this a case where you go in there and just hang on to the Fifth Amendment in the grand jury and see what happens?
Yeah, so it's difficult looking back on this, trying to imagine, putting yourself in the seat of the shoes of the lawyer. You have to almost wonder, how much did his lawyer actually know about what his client had or hadn't done? You're going to assume that they were, certainly competent, they had asked questions, but did they know the full extent of what had actually occurred compared to what Nauta had told the FBI just a month before? Because based off what we know now, there's no way I could ever imagine agreeing to let that client walk in there and testify without some kind of arrangement or agreement in advance with the Justice Department lawyers coming back and saying, look, I've been retained, I'm handling this now. Here's what we want to clean up. We want some type of immunity discussion. We're not going to talk to the grand jury at all unless we have something in place. Otherwise, you bring him in there, he's just going to plead the Fifth and you get nothing. So, we don't know what was told to the lawyers back then, but it was certainly risky to put Walt Nauta in there saying what he did. And you read through the grand jury testimony, all I could think of was Sergeant Schultz from, Hogan's Heroes. He's like, I heard nothing. I saw nothing. I know nothing. And of course, as we know from text messages, from photos, he knew a lot and he wasn't providing accurate descriptions.